Jake sat on the edge of his bed, staring at the glowing party flyer on the dresser. The words, Emma's 18th birthday bash, sparkled in neon pink. It was supposed to be his birthday too, but his name wasn't written anywhere. Mom really didn't even bother to put me on the flyer, he muttered under his breath. His best friend Nathan leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed. Man, are you still going to that circus? You'll just end up standing in the corner while everyone sings for Emma. Jake sighed. Not this time. I told Mom I've got a camping trip with the guys. Let her have the solo spotlight she always wanted. Where are you watching from today? Kindly hit like, comment and subscribe to this channel for more. Ever since they were kids, everything in the family house revolved around Emma. Mom often said, Emma is the sunshine in this family, while patting Jake's head like he was just an accessory. Dad wasn't much better. He'd scoop Emma up in his arms, calling her princess in front of guests, while Jake only got a quick slap on the back. Good job, sport, Dad would say, like Jake was just another boy passing through. Even his 3 older brothers followed the same pattern, always protective of their sister, while teaching Jake that boys don't cry and boys don't complain. Jake remembered the nursery story told at every birthday. Mom would laugh and say, I knew Emma was in there all along. I even painted the room pink before the doctor confirmed it. Then she'd pause for the punchline. We had to scramble for some blue paint when little Jake popped up in the ultrasound. Everyone would laugh except Jake. On the fridge, the old ultrasound still hung. The circle around Emma's outline was drawn in bold pink marker, while Jake's tiny shadow was barely labeled Baby B in faint pencil. That picture says it all, Jake whispered once, staring at it alone. The favoritism showed in family photos too. Emma always sat in the middle, dressed in neat outfits Mom picked carefully. Jake was off to the side, in wrinkled hand-me-downs his brothers had already ruined. Emma's first steps were filmed from 3 angles, with Mom crying, My baby girl is growing up. Jake took his first steps 20 minutes later. He only heard a distracted, Good job, buddy, while the family rewatched Emma's video. At birthday parties, pink balloons and tiara plates filled the table, and the chorus always rang out, Happy birthday, Emma. Jake blew out his candles in silence. By the time they reached high school, the gap between them had grown wider. Emma got her own bedroom makeover, fairy lights, a vanity, and a mirror bigger than the TV in the living room. Jake still shared a cramped space with his brother, separated only by a flimsy curtain. When Emma turned 16, Mom handed her car keys. It's too dangerous for a girl to ride the bus, she explained. Jake, he only got the free bus pass the school gave low-income students. We're not poor, he thought bitterly, just cheap when it comes to me. 6 months before their 18th birthday, Mom spread color swatches and Pinterest boards across the dining table. Rose gold confetti neon sign, Emma's 18, she said, eyes shining. Jake sat nearby, invisible at the same table. Can my friends come too? He asked carefully. Mom patted his hand without looking up. Of course, honey. You can invite a couple people to Emma's party. Nathan texted from across town. Bro, did she really say Emma's party? Jake typed back, yep. Message received. One afternoon, Jake passed the hallway and heard Mom on speaker with the planner. Just one birthday girl, Mom said, cheerful and firm. Her twin brother will be there, but the focus is on Emma. 18 is special for girls. Jake froze. The planner laughed softly. The neon cursive, Emma's 18, will photograph beautifully. Jake stepped back, jaw tight. That night he told Nathan, I'm not going. Nathan leaned forward. So what's the plan? Jake's voice steadied. Camping at the lake. If Mom wants a solo act for Emma, I'll give it to her. The morning of the party, the kitchen turned into a salon. Mom's friends circled Emma, fussing with curls and makeup. You look like a star, Mom breathed. Jake hauled a duffel through the back door. Emma glanced up, guilt flickering. You're really leaving? She whispered. Yeah, Jake said gently. You've got this. Outside, Nathan honked from his pickup. Birthday escape begins, he grinned. As they pulled away, Jake saw the delivery truck arrive with the neon sign. He exhaled, rolled down the window and let the music drown the ache. At the lake, the air smelled like pine and smoke. The guys built a fire, told dumb jokes and roasted marshmallows. When midnight crept close, Nathan nudged him. Ready? The circle sang happy birthday, No tiaras, no speeches, just real voices under real stars. Make a wish, Nathan said. Jake closed his eyes. I wish I mattered without having to fight for it. His phone stayed off until the fire burned low. He finally powered it up. Buzz after buzz after buzz. Missed calls. Angry texts. And one voicemail from an unknown number, timestamp 12:01 a.m. Jake stepped away from the laughter and pressed play. A woman's voice trembled. Jake. This is your birth mother. We've waited 18 years to contact you. You deserve the truth. He swallowed. Your adoptive mother lost a baby at 7 months. When she went to adopt, the agency said you and your sister had to stay together. She only wanted the girl. You were at the price to get her daughter. I'm so sorry. Please call me. The message ended. Nathan found Jake standing by the dark water. Hey, what happened? Jake's voice came out thin. Everything suddenly makes sense, and I don't know what to do next. Jake replayed the voicemail 3 more times in his tent, hands shaking harder each time. The crack in the woman's voice when she mentioned the 7-month loss felt too raw to be a lie. His screen lit up again, 43 missed calls, most from Mom. Her last text made his stomach twist. Where's my daughter's brother? Not where's Jake. Not even where's my son. He stared at the words until Nathan stirred in his sleeping bag. You okay, man? Jake's throat tightened. Not even close. Sunlight spilled across the lake as the guys packed up. Nathan slapped Jake's shoulder. You've been glued to that phone all morning. What's going on? Jake hesitated. The truth felt insane to say out loud. My whole life. I wasn't wanted. I was just the tag-along. Nathan frowned. Come on, your mom might play favorites, but no, Jake cut in, voice cracking. She never wanted me. Only Emma. Nathan's mouth opened then closed again. He had no words for that. On the drive back, messages from Emma flooded in. Mom's freaking out. He's telling people you're missing. Please come home. Jake stared at her last line. She's performing grief for the neighbors. Performing. That word hit like lightning. He pressed call. Emma answered on the first ring, her voice breaking. Please, Jake. She's blaming me for everything. Just come home. Jake's GPS glowed with another route. His birth mother's address only 20 minutes away. His fingers tightened on the wheel. I could go to her right now, he whispered. But Emma's sobs pulled him toward home. Cars lined the driveway when Jake arrived. The Sunday brunch continuation of Emma's birthday was in full swing. Mom stood on the porch with tissues in hand, telling anyone who would listen, my son is having a breakdown. Pray for him. Inside, chaos bloomed. Emma sobbed in the corner. Her boyfriend had dumped her at the party, saying he couldn't compete with her need for attention. Guests whispered. And in the kitchen, Dad leaned against the counter, face gray, clutching his chest. Jake dropped his duffel instantly. Dad. Jake dialed 911, voice steady despite the panic racing through him. Chest pain, difficulty breathing, clammy skin, he reported to the dispatcher. Mom hovered uselessly in the doorway, still clutching tissues. Oh, this is too much, I can't lose my husband and my son, she wailed to the crowd outside. Jake ignored her, gave Dad aspirin and kept him calm until the ambulance arrived. The EMT shot Jake an approving nod. Good work, kid. You probably saved him. Mom, meanwhile, cried louder, see what stress my son causes this family? The hospital waiting room turned into another stage. Mom sobbed loudly enough for strangers to glance over. He's destroying us. His rebellion nearly killed his father. He's always been fragile, never understood why he hurts Emma like this. Jake sat across the room, silent, while her performance built sympathy. In the corner, a teenager recorded her with his phone. Between sobs, Mom muttered words that made Jake's chest freeze. I never wanted that boy. The camera caught every syllable. His oldest brother arrived soon after, striding across the waiting room. He gripped Jake's shoulder too tightly. You ruined Emma's day. You traumatized Dad. You're selfish, Jake. All because you couldn't stand Emma having one night. Jake met his eyes, calm but bitter. One night. She's had 18 years. The brother's jaw tightened. Grow up. Stop making everything about you. Then he turned back to comfort Mom, who sobbed louder for her fresh audience. Sent home to grab insurance documents, Jake searched Dad's office. Behind old tax returns he found a plain manila envelope with his name scrawled across it. Inside, adoption papers. Emma's file was tucked neatly in a decorative folder with baby footprints and pastel stickers. Jake snapped photos, hands trembling. When Emma walked in mascara streaked, she didn't yell. She just stared at the papers and whispered, "I always wondered why she looked at you like that." Her words hit harder than any scream. Emma sank to the carpet beside him, hugging her knees. "All these years I thought you were imagining it. But I saw it too, how different she was with you." Jake swallowed the lump in his throat. "So it wasn't just in my head." They sat shoulder to shoulder, flipping through documents. The adoption clause was clear. Twins cannot be separated. Emma reached for his hand, squeezing it tight. "I'm sorry, Jake," she murmured. "I should have said something sooner." His eyes burned, but he didn't cry. At the hospital, Dad needed insurance forms signed. Jake noticed the discrepancies immediately. Emma was listed as the primary dependent. His own name was sometimes missing, sometimes misspelled like an afterthought. Back in the waiting room, Mom paced, phone pressed to her ear. "He's unstable," she whispered to her sister. "Always has been. I'll get him help even if he resists." Jake clenched the pen in his hand. For the first time in 18 years he saw her clearly, not as Mom but as Linda, the woman who had built a whole story where he was the villain. That night, Jake scrolled through the family group chat. Mom had already started rewriting the story. "Pray for Jake. He's struggling again. He's fragile, just like when he cried too much at Grandpa's funeral." Relatives chimed in, some offering sympathy, others recalling troubled moments Jake barely remembered. One aunt wrote, "He always seemed jealous of Emma. I knew this would happen someday." Jake clenched his phone. "She's building a case against me," he muttered. Nathan texted back instantly, "Then you need to build yours." Every time Jake tried to step away, another emergency tethered him. "Can you drive Emma home? Pick up Dad's prescription? Help clean the house before relatives visit?" Tasks piled up until he realized they weren't coincidences. Mom was deliberately keeping him close. That suspicion became fact when she cornered him in the hospital parking lot. She dangled his car keys between her fingers. "Remember, Jake," she said calmly, "you're on my insurance. I can take you off anytime. One wrong move and you'll lose your car, your school, everything." Jake stared at her. "That's not love. That's control." Exhaustion pressed down on Jake as he sat at the dinner table that evening. Relatives chatted cheerfully about Emma's party, avoiding his eyes. When he reached for the salt, the words slipped out without thought. "Pass it, Linda." The room froze. Forks clinked against plates. Emma's eyes widened. Dad's jaw tightened. His middle brother cleared his throat, forcing a laugh to break the silence. Later in the garage, that brother whispered, "I believe you, Jake. But I can't take your side. Not with Mom's best friend as my wife's mother." He hugged him tightly. "I'm sorry." The next days blurred together. At church, Mom stood up with tears in her eyes. "Pray for my troubled son. Addiction, anger, depression, it's tearing us apart." Jake overheard whispers afterward. "That poor woman. He's unstable." Even the youth pastor texted Jake, "I'm here if you need help with substance abuse." Jake nearly laughed at the absurdity. "Substance abuse? I've never even touched alcohol," he groaned. But the rumors spread faster than truth. At school, Coach Henderson pulled him aside during practice. "Your mom's worried, son. Says you're burning out. Maybe take a break from baseball, focus on your mental health." Jake stared at him. "Coach, I'm fine." "She's lying." Henderson frowned, uneasy. Mothers don't usually lie about something like that. Jake wanted to scream, "You don't know my mother," but instead he nodded tightly. Each corner of his life, school, church, even teammates' parents, now looked at him through her story. That night Mom confronted him again. "You've always been jealous of Emma," she said sweetly as if rehearsed. "You even threatened to ruin her party." Jake shook his head. "No, I told you I had a camping trip." "That's it." Mom's voice sharpened. "You see, you twist everything. That's why you need therapy." Jake's voice trembled. "No, that's why you need control." Her eyes narrowed. "Careful, Jake. You're proving my point." Searching for his birth certificate in the attic, Jake stumbled on an old school box. Inside was a diary from when he was 7. In wobbly letters he'd written, "Mom loves Emma more than me." In the margin, red pen scrawled a single word, "Therapist." Jake's chest tightened. She knew, he whispered. She knew back then. He flipped pages, finding other childhood thoughts, his longing, his questions, all minimized by her pen. Nathan listened quietly as Jake showed him. Man, Nathan muttered, she's been gaslighting you since you could hold a pencil. Even little kids picked up Mom's whispers. One weekend, 4-year-old cousin Lily announced proudly to her mother. Aunt Linda says Jake has problems in his brain. We have to be nice to him. Jake overheard, stunned. A child had carried Mom's narrative home like gospel. When Lily's mother gave him a pitying smile later, Jake realized it was working. Mom's lies were rewriting his entire identity in their small town. She's poisoning the well, he told Nathan. And everyone's drinking from it. Nathan, furious, helped him access the family doorbell camera from the night of Emma's party. The footage showed Mom greeting guests with trembling hands, dabbing at her dry eyes. He abandoned us, she told them. Always jealous of Emma. Couldn't stand her having one special night. The performance was flawless, voice cracking, eyes downcast. Jake watched numb. That was 1 hour after I left, he said quietly. Nathan shook his head. She's not just lying, she's staging a play. And the whole town's her audience. A week later, a thick envelope landed on the doorstep. Legal documents. Mom had filed for an emergency custody evaluation. The papers claimed Jake was unstable, dangerous, and a threat to Emma's well-being. He flipped pages in disbelief. Supervised visits with my siblings? A risk to my sister? His voice shook with rage. Emma peeked into his room, her face pale. Jake, she's going too far. He looked at her, jaw set. She's not just trying to control me anymore. She's trying to erase me. Jake stormed into the kitchen, papers in hand. Supervised visits? Are you serious, Linda? Mom gasped, pressing a hand to her chest. Don't call me that. I'm your mother and I'm protecting this family. Jake threw the envelope onto the table. Protecting who? Emma? Or your image? Emma stood silently in the doorway, tears welling in her eyes. Jake, she whispered. Mom turned sharply. Stay out of this, Emma. He's unstable. You know it. Jake's laugh was bitter. Unstable? Or just inconvenient? That night, Jake logged into Mom's Amazon account. He scrolled through years of purchase history. Emma's birthdays were filled with gifts. Dolls, jewelry, electronics. His own birthdays were nearly blank. Sometimes only a last-minute order for paper plates or generic cards. Then he saw the most recent search. Gift for Emma's real birthday. His throat tightened. Real birthday, he muttered. So what's mine? The fake one. He screenshotted everything, each click another nail in her perfect facade. Scrolling through Mom's Facebook posts told the same story. Emma's participation trophy earned paragraphs of praise. So proud of my girl, working so hard. Jake's state championship in baseball? Not a word. His National Honor Society induction? Ignored. Post after post built a public image of Emma as the golden child. Nathan leaned over his shoulder. She's been running PR on you since middle school, man. You're not her son, you're her scapegoat. Jake leaned back, exhausted. And she's winning. The therapist Mom dragged him to wasn't neutral either. Dr. Reeves smiled gently, but her questions cut sharp. Tell me about your jealousy toward Emma. Do you often create fantasies to cope? Jake frowned. I found adoption papers. That's not fantasy. Reeves scribbled notes. Sometimes troubled teens invent elaborate stories when they feel overlooked. Jake's fists clenched. I'm not inventing this. But Reeves never let him finish. Each session felt less like therapy and more like cross-examination, designed to prove Mom's script. One night, Jake tried recording Mom's rant as proof. Her voice was sharp, venomous. You embarrass this family. You've always been a burden. But the second she spotted his phone, her tone flipped. Jake, sweetheart, why are you recording me? Are you paranoid again? I'm only trying to help. She stepped closer, soft smile on her lips. Maybe these delusions are worse than we thought. Jake stopped the recording, hand trembling. She's too good at this, he muttered. She even makes me doubt myself. The humiliation spread. At his youngest brother's school, Jake went to pick him up for a dentist appointment. The secretary frowned. Sorry, Jake, you're not authorized anymore. Confused, he asked why. She lowered her voice. Your mom said you're going through issues. We can't release him to you. Security escorted him out as his little brother pressed against the glass, watching. Jake walked away, heart pounding. She's cutting me off from everything, he whispered. Even family who still believes in me. Desperate, Jake visited Grandma's house. She served him tea, her hands trembling as she listened. I've seen how she favors Emma, Grandma admitted softly. But Jake, if I take you in, I'll lose the others. She'll never let them visit me again. Tears filled Jake's eyes. So you're choosing her? Grandma looked down at her teacup. I'm choosing peace. Jake left the house feeling emptier than when he'd arrived. Even the people who believed him were too afraid to help. That night, Jake stared at the ceiling in Nathan's basement. She's winning, he whispered. Nathan shook his head. Not if you fight smart. Use her own tactics. She's all about appearances, right? Flip the script. The next morning, Jake acted. At school, he casually mentioned to his counselor that his mom had been acting strange. Sleeping in Emma's bed, borrowing her perfume, treating her more like a sister than a daughter. The counselor frowned, jotting notes. That doesn't sound healthy. Jake exhaled. Finally, someone was listening. Jake timed his next move carefully. He walked into the local coffee shop at 10:15, right when Mom's book club gathered. Standing by the counter, he chatted with one of Mom's friends, Catherine. When she asked about the party, Jake sighed. It's always tough for Mom this time of year. Adoption anniversaries bring back memories. Catherine blinked. Adoption? I thought you were twins. Jake smiled faintly. Oh, sorry, I probably shouldn't have mentioned that. He left, letting the seed of doubt grow. Behind him, whispers began. Back home, Jake searched Mom's email. Her password was easy, Emma's birthday. Inside her sent folder, he found years of communication with the adoption agency. His chest tightened as he scrolled. Requests for documentation. Letters marked, do not contact. Legal threats attached to his birth mother's name. She had known where his birth mother was all along. She had blocked every attempt at contact. Jake closed his laptop, breathing hard. She didn't just not want me, he said softly. She tried to erase me. A few days later, Mom's estranged brother Marcus showed up. Heard about the drama, he said smoothly. Maybe I can mediate. But Jake caught the glint in his eyes when Marcus asked about Dad's inheritance. Mom let him in, desperate for an ally, but Jake realized Marcus wasn't here for peace. He smelled opportunity. One more vulture, Jake muttered. Emma pulled him aside. Jake, he's only here to stir things up. Don't give him what he wants. For once they were on the same side. The distractions cost Jake dearly. He missed his scholarship interview. The rejection email arrived the same night he saw his college savings account drained. $18,000. Gone. The statement showed withdrawals for Emma's party and family therapy bills. Jake confronted Mom. That was my money. She folded her arms. Family expenses, Jake. Your behavior caused this crisis. You pay for the damage you create. His voice cracked. You stole my future to keep your lie alive. She didn't flinch. Better your future than Emma's. The gossip became unbearable. At the grocery store, Mom staged her most public scene yet. She approached Jake in uniform while he stocked shelves. I'm so worried about you, she said loudly, ensuring customers heard. He's been unstable, everyone. Please pray for him. Chopper stared. His manager frowned from the office window. Jake felt heat rise in his face. Stop lying, he snapped. Mom gasped theatrically. See? Outbursts. Anger issues. Whispers spread like wildfire. Jake's reputation crumbled in real time. That night, Emma knocked on Nathan's garage door where Jake had been staying. Her voice was shaky. Jake, what if she's right? What if you just hate me because of the party? What if this adoption thing is in your head? Jake froze. The gaslighting had reached his sister too. He pulled out the adoption papers, the screenshots, the emails. Emma flipped through them silent. Finally, she whispered, she lied to both of us. Jake nodded, his voice low. And now we have to decide what we do with the truth. Determined, Jake organized every document into a binder. Adoption papers. Email threats. Facebook posts. Screenshots of Mom's lies. Even the video of her muttering, I never wanted that boy. He handed it all to a legal aid lawyer. The man leafed through the binder slowly, eyes narrowing. This is a pattern of emotional abuse, son. It'll take time, but you've built a strong case. For the first time, Jake felt hope spark. So she doesn't get the last word? The lawyer shook his head. Not this time. In court, Mom put on her best show. She cried about being a misunderstood mother. She painted Jake as jealous, unstable, ungrateful. But when the lawyer rolled the doorbell footage, the room went silent. Her voice filled the speakers. I never wanted that boy. Mom froze, eyes darting. Emma squeezed Jake's hand under the table. That's it, she whispered. The judge's gavel came down sharply. Enough. This court has heard sufficient evidence. Mom's mask cracked for the first time. The judge's ruling was clear. Jake gained control of his documents, his bank account, and his right to contact his birth mother without interference. A restraining order forbade Mom from spreading lies about his mental health. Mrs. Carter, the judge said firmly, your grief does not excuse 18 years of emotional neglect. Mom wept silently, no audience left to applaud her performance. Jake stood taller than he ever had, the weight of years slowly lifting off his shoulders. After court, Emma hugged him tightly. I'm sorry I didn't speak up sooner. Jake shook his head. You were caught in it too. But we're free now. Later that week he met his birth mother in a quiet cafe. She handed him a folder filled with letters she had written over the years, all returned unopened. Tears filled her eyes. I never stopped trying, Jake. He smiled weakly. And I never stopped wondering. For the first time he felt wanted. Life didn't fix itself overnight, but it began to mend. Jake enrolled in community college, working part-time to rebuild his savings. Emma visited often, slowly separating her own identity from Mom's grip. Dad, quieter now, apologized for his silence. I should have fought for you, he admitted. Jake nodded. Then fight for yourself now. Don't let her run your life anymore. Around Nathan's dinner table, Jake laughed freely. He finally belonged to a family that chose him, not one that tolerated him. Years later, Jake stood in his own backyard, watching his daughter chase fireflies. Emma painted on the porch, her art full of light and freedom. Their father visited sometimes, gentler now, humbled by truth. Mom stayed distant, bound by court orders and her own therapy. Jake leaned against the fence, remembering the scared boy in the tent who once believed he was unwanted. You weren't unwanted, he whispered to his younger self. You were unloved by the wrong person. Moral of the story. Family isn't defined by who claims you, but by who chooses you, supports you, and sees your worth. Even if the ones meant to love you fail, you can build a life full of real love and freedom. Remember to tell us where you are watching from today. Hit the like button, comment, and subscribe to this channel for more of this.